Alright, hello everyone and welcome to game number 2 between AdeptX7 and mmogog. AdeptX7 taking a fairly convincing game 1. Not too many holes in his play there. mmogog, on the other hand, with a bit of a questionable, bumpy start at HQ level 2 in particular, that led to a difficult game trying to play from behind. A good job done considering the circumstances, but maybe with just some slightly different decisions at the beginning of the game, it would have been a lot closer and could have really made a good match out of it. Taking a look at this map, there is only 10 iron. So this is almost sure to be a different game from what we've seen so far today. Most of them have had plenty of iron available. This one, though, is more about the carbon. However, there are no high carbons even. No nukes available, which is good, and we are going to have AdeptX7 found and want to take the iron. He does not want to play as Scavenger this game. He is going to grab up his Expansive. Now, AdeptX7 is easily going to take this high aluminum, having found it a little bit earlier, and as an Expansive player, even with that added distance, can easily take the one that he wants. However, mmogog, anticipating this, watching the flight path, whatever, takes a different aluminum very easily. No major interruption there. And both players have kind of gotten immediately established with what they want. AdeptX7, iron much more valuable this game than in the last. Not trying to fight a robot for that price, so we should see a much faster HQ level 2 this game. mmogog, kind of a similar thing, was dragging up that steel price, and I love that play to slow down AdeptX7. That's exactly the kind of thing you want to be doing in a 1v1. You could see they were holding on to it until the last moment when they sold down and hit the upgrade. That was fantastic. And it has had a bit of an impact. AdeptX7 has not been able to push yet to HQ level 2, so mmogog going to be the first one there. Now we see level 2s all around. mmogog committing to just a couple of, water tiles out here? Yeah, taking the water combined with silicon tiles. I really don't mind that. I really don't. It's a lot of water to be coming in. You're probably going to flood the market pretty quickly, but you do secure these very valuable dual tiles, even though the one concern is they are pretty far away. They are very far away. So you definitely have to be concerned about fuel costs and the sheer amount of time it is going to take to get an advantage off of these. Perhaps if the found had been more in this area, these would have been far more usable. You've got aluminum here and you've got these tiles. Now, water engine is the first patent we're going to go ahead and see today. 14,000 for AdeptX7 so far. I'm sorry, I'm going to trip up over that name literally all the time. 24,000 for water engine. That's very interesting to me. I don't know exactly how I feel about that. Water engine, still one of the least valuable patents in my opinion. It can certainly do some work, but you do have to be a little bit concerned with it at times. It is going to save him some money in the short term, I guess, but it did also cost a lot of debt to go ahead and pick up, and we've already got a very different game from last time. Debt could be far more relevant here. And mmogog already heading into a little bit of food, just making sure to get that secured. That's interesting. It's kind of nice to have the building down already, I suppose. It is making just a little bit of money, but not a whole lot just yet, as there are no adjacency bonuses to go along with it. And AdeptX7 is once again going to get aggressive immediately this game and freeze out his opponent's elemental quarries, pulling in that carbon. I don't know if that was the best use of that power surge. I understand the concept behind it. However, it could have hit this water. Far more valuable, this water right now. I like the idea of getting aggressive, but I think that just blindly going after the Scavenger opponent's carbon might not always be the best of ideas. And is mmogog sending out another geotherm? Yes, they are. That is a lot of carbon down the drain. I will admit that, once again, but just one geotherm shouldn't be nearly the speed bump that 2 was last game, so we'll have to see how it pans out. This does, however, mean that AdeptX7, his steel is going through uninterrupted. He's not going to have any problems utilizing the profits from that to push into the glass he needs to get to HQ level 3. And we're just going to have to see what he pulls off with that this time. He is now committing to his own geotherm. He's grabbing an extra steel mill 2 claims left, a bit of an awkward number, but certainly could do something with glass, could try to go for maybe an additional geo if one exists on the map. I don't remember how many there are out here. He's transitioned out of his iron, which is a reasonable decision, and is actually going into quite a bit of power. That makes glass basically not an option, or at least not a good one. Would say, and make that work. He could try and fight his opponent on food. Not really what you're looking for, but he is going to have to decide what to do with these 2 claims before too long. And he did get EMP'd, which is going to slow him down quite a bit. Claim auction coming out again. Classically, last game, mmogog really went after these. Quite heavily, actually. Attacked these. Definitely wanted to grab them up. We're going to have to see if that holds true this game, as debt is going to be more of a concern when you are playing the Scavenger. 24,000 for it. So once again, getting aggressive. 24,000 is a lot of money, but can definitely be valuable when you're talking about getting up to that farm triangle potentially. And looks like AdeptX7 has decided to fight the food, getting a farm down for himself. And I imagine he's going to add to this when he has the ability to, but AdeptX7 is just running on nothing right now with this freeze going down on his steel mills and nothing else really around making him money, whereas mmogog is starting to run out of gas and definitely needs to be concerned with securing that glass to get to an upgrade based off this food before profits on that tank. Now that water has come way down, the food is doing just fine, but it is going to be about securing this glass in time, I think, to hit HQ level 3 and continue to be able to fight AdeptX7 as the game goes on.
Black market is online.
Steel's unfrozen, so Adept is functional again. He's able to get down another farm, which is definitely important, and he can keep fighting on this glass and keep slowing mmogog down just a bit here and there. And then every little bit counts still at this phase of the game. HQ3 to HQ2, there's a lot of game left to play, so any advantage you can take can potentially ripple out to a big advantage later in the game. I would almost think that maybe it's time to start making use of this unused silicon down here. What is going on? Oh, it's actually just going to be extra silicon taken by mmogog. Now, I have a concern here, which is primarily that, yeah, silicon's good in the moment, and yeah, water was good in the moment, but when you're taking so much of these base resources without the level of consumption from like a 4, 6, or 8-man game, you have to be concerned, because you can see that these are now effectively 2 worse than dead tiles. These are actively losing money in debt, basically, right now, because water's not worth anything, and it might be better just to turn them off. And eventually, silicon is probably going to go the same way. Now, water might bounce back eventually. Silicon is unlikely to get too much higher than it is right now, unless somebody commits very heavily to solar panels at some point in this game. So I'm concerned that these 2 tiles might be permanently dead after they're done making money. These 2 tiles, even if they bounce back, they're dead in the moment. So mmogog is basically running down, what, like 2 tiles potentially for the rest of this game, and when you're already behind because you're a scavenger, that's not a spot you really want to be in, honestly. Another claim auction does come up. We'll have to see if this one goes any differently from the others. mmogog is about 11k behind on debt at this point, 81,000 to 70,000. Oh wow, both these players are pushing so hard for this. That is an expensive claim, 36,000. I was almost sure AdeptX7 was going to end up taking it for that 32, but man, 36,000, look at this. This is $120,000 debt. I'm very concerned about this. That interest rate from C bond rating can add up very quickly. It is a massive jump from 14% to 20% interest rate. And as a scavenger, you absolutely cannot afford to be paying the 40% interest, or sorry, the 30% interest rate from a D rating, and the fact that you can't use the black market. You definitely need to be able to do those things. I also do find it interesting that mmogog actually chose to transition out of water and into reactors. Reactors are strong, don't get me wrong. But I wonder if it would have been better to leave the food, sorry, transition out of the food is what they did. I wonder if it would have been better to leave it, not commit these extra claims to silicon, and simply make sure you're using up all that water that you've got flying in by building up reactors instead of the silicon and glass furnace. I think that might have been a much better position. I do love this freeze. This is very important. These are very, very valuable tiles. And on top of that, AdeptX7 has made the mistake, I would say, of sticking all of his tiles together. And so punishing for that is going to be very, very important since mmogog is going to be playing catch-up this game. Whoa, and catching the power surge. That was going to be a questionable power surge no matter what, but having caught it with the ability to turn it around, that is going to be very painful for AdeptX7. Like, seriously, you have to question where this goon squad was, but the fact that AdeptX7 came after it means that that play worked out brilliantly. And now mmogog is actually catching up pretty well. You still have to worry about debt. Don't get me wrong, but like, glass is definitely an option with all this silicon coming in.
The black market
Food is still an option if that wants to be utilized. There's plenty of black market available at this stage of the game. Sure, grab another EMP, grab another power surge, have that ready to go as these unfreeze. Make sure you're the one making the money. I love the idea behind that. It is going to be a goon squad for the time being, just going ahead and protecting this food income, which will be quite valuable. And that's understandable. Keep your opponent from really turning it around on you, and in fact, AdeptX7 is going to goon himself as well. Both players realizing they've got strong-ish production up, and they want to make sure it stays that way. I'm very concerned about these 6 tiles, though. This is all your money. And if these can get attacked with a fortunate power surge or anything, that is going to be a big problem. An aluminum tile getting auctioned off, neither player cares all that much. mmogog is going to take it for 6k. That's not bad. It is going to be a solar panel headed out there, which I am totally fine with, even with power at kind of its weak stage. The silicon is there to have. It's just not that big a deal. EMP, I hate this EMP. I think this is an awful EMP. Yeah, you're hitting carbon. Yeah, your opponent needs a lot of carbon, but what your opponent needs a lot of really is money, because it's very easy to turn money into resources in this game. An EMP down on this electrolysis, I think, might have been a lot stronger. Now, that was a turned around EMP.
Expansive colony expanded.
It is worth noting. So there is a defended tile here that triggered the goon squad, but still just constantly opening this door for further EMPs and further power surges is going to be great for mmogog, who has managed to spread out their buildings more effectively. It is just going to be a goon squad for the time being, like an extra goon squad. But taking these goon squads right now and having them set up in tiles that you're going to use later is not a bad idea. I'm still very concerned about these. Profits are starting to dwindle. These guys don't have enough water coming in to really cover all of the production they've been doing, so profits aren't going to stay good for all that much longer. But it still hurts, right? It still hurts. This is a good, what, $200 taken away a second, potentially? Just from one simple little power surge. And now the goon squad's there, but it's just a little late. And mmogog right behind on HQ level 5. We haven't really taken a good look at Offworlds yet this game. Oxygen and food, both brilliant. I think this has to be the focus, is getting these Offworlds constructed as fast as possible once again, while still managing to kind of try and maintain that hold you've got an opponent. I'm very concerned about mmogog. It's going to be very difficult to push into those Offworlds and make sure your debt isn't getting completely out of control if AdeptX7 chooses to get aggressive at almost any point. It does look like he is looking for the Offworlds. He started to buy into electronics. He's got the glass production down. And this overload is something that I have to wonder about. It's increasing power consumption. But if you're going to target an overload, well, first of all, power's not all that expensive, and if you're going to target an overload, you may as well just hit the steel, unless you're worried about a goon squad, but I wouldn't be worried about a goon squad on the steel. Now, an overload on the steel could have been really cool, as your opponent's not planning on stopping steel production anytime soon. If they want to get to an Offworld, which you have to expect they do. But I'm just not sure, guys. I'm not sure. This EMP looks a lot better now with carbon up at $40 a piece, and you know your opponent wants that 600. That's when I like to be attacking the carbon, and I'm fine with that. The goon squad is going to prevent a little bit of the damage from that EMP, but it's still fairly solid all around. AdeptX7, what are you going to do from here? He's still looking for that Offworld, and he is going to get it planted in just a moment here. No hologram on it. That is wide open and exposed. But there should be a goon squad on top of it in time that at least you're going to be able to deflect any mutinies or power surges that are potentially going to land on that building.
The black market is gone on.
All right, mmogog does have the ability to drop the Offworld as well, and the tile cleared. So only about, what, 20, 23-ish seconds behind on the Offworld. That's really not that bad as a scavenger because, oh, look at that. Because you can do that. Now, the freeze actually isn't all that great. It just kind of blindly hit food. Again, these players just going after tiles that kind of look good rather than tiles that are necessarily making a lot of money. It's not too bad because really the place you would like to see it land was right on top of the Offworld, but you expect that to be goon squatted. And it is now. But think if that had hit the Offworld. Oh man, what a lead that would have been. It's going to be much closer together now. Oh yeah. mmogog's Offworld is actually ahead. We did see a dip into that D rating. Definitely something that mmogog is going to need to be avoiding. Thankfully, the carbon income is going to be strong, much stronger than the steel and iron income at this stage of the game. And so, this is a hard one to call, guys. I don't know what's going to happen. It comes down to just the two advantages butting heads against each other, right? Debt is starting to even out just a bit. Only about a 50k difference between these two players. AdeptX7 has fallen to a B rating from the triple B rating. And we're still a ways off from the next interest hit. So it's hard to call exactly how that's going to pan out. It does look like mmogog might be trying to push to another Offworld. Magnetic Storm comes in. Not a bad thing for mmogog to actually pick that up, mostly because of the potential for getting silicon shot down. That silicon, those tiles didn't go dead anywhere near as fast as I expected them to, with both of these players kind of committing into glass and continuing to lose money on the glass at this point, it has to be noted. But it does keep those silicon tiles, far more valuable than one might have initially expected. So it's important to take the Magnetic Storm away from your opponent in that circumstance. It was just used to shoot down water very quickly. Not a whole lot of really advantage gained from there, but not a bad thing necessarily. All right, AdeptX7 getting aggressive with, I believe, a mutiny. Yep. And going to have a network virus dumped onto his head and his Offworld in return. Both these players just kind of going through the launches right now. I think mmogog is struggling to get these launches going, and that is causing a problem. For sure. There are 3 of them queued up, and there's no reason for that with an auto launch. 2 of these need to be canceled immediately, just so they don't cause too many problems in the future, I think. But at least players both have their launches going. I think mmogog might have just been running a bit too short on money, a bit too long, and kind of handed the advantage back over to AdeptX7. AdeptX7 going for a second Offworld. mmogog has also constructed a second Offworld. Both these players just kind of neck and neck right now. mmogog with a slight stock advantage, stock number advantage. Very, very slight though. Okay, the launch does begin immediately. That's very important that the launch started immediately because these launches are all so huge. However, AdeptX7, he actually has the cash he needs unless mmogog secures additional stock very quickly. No reason not to secure your own stock, in my opinion, when your stock price is suffering this much, and the launches should help secure that immediately, hopefully. But still, a very scary situation. You've got to get 2 of your own stock purchased right now, mmogog. Right now. Just buy them up. Just both of them. Right now. Just get it. Just get it done. Get that last one, and you're going to be okay. Just buy it. Just press the little button right here. It'll be okay. Oh, what happened to the money? Where did the money go? I think it got sunk into the black market. I think that might be her death. His death. I'm not sure, honestly. And that's going to do it. Yep. That black market purchase is going to go ahead and do it. That majority buyout. Getting it done. That was a close one. I think if mmogog had secured that one last little bit of stock, they would have had it with that scavenger advantage and Offworlds being that powerful. But you gotta respect the majority buyout. You absolutely do. Maybe a little overzealous with purchasing Goon Squads is probably what did it. Goon Squad's up at 50 already. And I think that's the kind of thing that's going to kill you in these games sometimes. It was a close one. It was an even one, that game. But at the end of the day, AdeptX7 is going to take it, and he is going to be the one moving on to the round of 8. And let's go ahead and have a look at who he's likely to be against. So, I believe the games have already been played out. I won't spoil it for anybody. But AdeptX7 will have to face the winner of PBhead versus Jacobian in the round of 8 of this tournament. And that's likely to be a hard one. Because no matter who came out on top, you either have to face PBhead or the guy who was able to take down PBhead, right? So that's going to be a difficult one.